Hey there, everybody. Welcome to a new This Is Us Season 5 discussion. It's been a minute, but we have some news to share about possible premiere dates, premiere windows. It seems as though, based on what John Huertas is saying, we're going to be stuck waiting for a while, but we'll get into that. We'll tell you possible scenarios there. And also, some new story discussion.
Yeah, we've had, Sterling was talking to EW and he mentioned a little bit about something that is going to be coming up for Randall. So we actually have a little bit of news on what is coming up.
Which is great, which means we can talk about and speculate about some things that are not necessarily Kevin's love life or Dr. Horse, which I will continue to call him that till the end of eternity. But anyway, before we go any further, if you guys do like this video, give us a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any other updates. Let's begin, though, with discussing the premiere date window, because this is inevitably going to be the number one This Is Us question for at least a good little while, or at least...
It is for us, too.
I know, until NBC announces what their fall schedule is, which, they might do tomorrow, they might do next month. It's hard to really know for sure. But what's going on here is that John Huertas, who you all know for playing, of course, Miguel on the show, and...
Miguel.
Oh, we're doing the chanting again. And, I will also always know him for Esposito on Castle. But anyway, different story. He was doing a roundtable discussion with Gavin Newsom as a part of everyone in the entertainment industry sort of talking about whatever the future is going to be amidst this health crisis. And something that he had said in that video was that it's very well possible that production might not start until January, and he was sort of saying that in the context of what if, there's another wave that comes, everybody wants to be prepared accordingly. But, of course, and as is often the case anytime you sort of have a soundbitey sort of quote, is that it sort of becomes, John Huertas says This Is Us not filming until January.
Yeah, and I mean, you gotta take it with context. It's hard sometimes when people say something and then it's like, oh, we're just gonna take this soundbite and now we're gonna run with it, and now this is fact. This is what's happening.
So since that time, John has gone on Instagram and has sort of been like, whoa, let's hold on here a second. It might be January, but ideally the idea here is that This Is Us would be back in the fall, which I feel like a lot of the scripted shows that are out there are hoping to start production maybe late summer, early fall, if it's possible, if there's testing. All of these sort of different things have to fall into place exactly, but it's a contingency plan.
Yeah. I mean, we're all kind of in a weird spot right now with all entertainment, all movies, all TV, all everything. Nothing can really get done right now. So it is just a wait and see. We just don't know. So I get what John was trying to say, where he's kind of like, yeah, if this gets worse or there is a second wave of this, I would bank on us being in 2021, which is pretty much where everybody is. We just don't know. And I think he just didn't want to get everybody's hopes up if, it's too uncertain.
I think for now, the thing that we should probably have in our minds is that it's probably going to be 2021 until This Is Us comes back. Maybe best case scenario, if they could start filming in September, is maybe NBC could premiere it in November, and we could have something that sort of goes where usually This Is Us, like I believe this past season, the Thanksgiving episode was like the last one before we went on a break. So they could conceivably go a little bit longer in December and then come back earlier in January and kind of figure out the schedule of all of it. But it's really a wait and see, and that would be the answer to everything. So let's get into Randall, because we have real theory stuff to get into here.
So Sterling, as I said, spoke to EW, and he mentioned that there's going to be like a past story about Randall coming up that's going to be very significant. And we know that all of his past really has to do with the Pearsons. I mean, he was brought in as a baby. So we did get the William story, which was really awesome. And so my theory is that this might be coming around about Randall's mom. So William did have a little bit of information for Randall, but said that he was not really present with everything that was going on in his life, so that when she gave birth, the implication is that she may have passed away during childbirth. He just sort of remembers that his son was born, and he remembers feeling overwhelmed and not knowing what to do now that he was alone with Randall and left him at the fire station. So there isn't a lot really known about his mom. So I was kind of wondering, I don't think that this is going to be that they're going to, oh, she's magically alive. And this show's very rooted in reality. And for that to come out, it feels a little bit kind of magical that it's, oh, she, what happened? What, she just disappeared? She just left her baby and disappeared? And William was just like, oh, she must have passed away. She must have passed away. So I think something might come from that. Maybe the mother had siblings, aunts, uncles, somebody that might shed a little bit more light on who she was, and maybe that person will become important to Randall going forward in the journey of what is happening now with his fallout with his brother, with everything that's happening with his mom. I mean, things are very hard for him right now.
And I think if this sort of feud between Kevin and Randall stays, and I know the two of us, we've talked already about when we could foresee that feud ending, but I think for both of us, we don't expect it to be early on in season 5.
No.
It would be nice for him to have somebody else to talk to who's not just Beth and not just one of the kids. So maybe someone who can give him sort of a more objective perspective, who, they know him, but they don't know him, so...
Yeah, and with it being that his sort of adopted family they're not cut off, but I mean, him and Kevin are cut off right now, so Randall is probably going to get a little more introspective and more into just his immediate family with Beth and the kids, that having somebody else come in that's a blood relative that maybe he doesn't know but is now leaning on, that maybe has to do with his mom's side, his biological mom's side, that might be something where he's like, forget them, I'm gonna dip in over here and see what's going on.
So the other theory that I had sort of thought a little bit about is, what if William had another kid that William just frankly did not know about? Because I think it would be a different situation if William knew there was another kid out there and he never told Randall. And I'm not looking for This Is Us to rewrite history on any of its characters in that sort of way. Yeah. But having a kid out there that William didn't know about, who somehow surfaces in Randall's life, given all of that could be sort of a blank slate because we wouldn't really know anything about that kid, who their mother would be, what they would be like, what their relationship with Randall would be like. I think it could be really, really fascinating, but I also, if I'm going to contradict my own theory here in a couple of different ways.
Well, we're just spitballing here, so.
One of the issues here is I don't know if that would really be that much a part of Randall's own past, because if this kid was, another kid of William, it's sort of separate from him in some ways. And the other sort of question I would really have in this instance is, how would this kid ever really find all of this out if William did? Only thing I could sort of think about is if this kid figures out after the fact that, William is my father and they just found out and William's dead, maybe they're able to sort of trace and figure out through that Randall is William's son, and then that's a chance to reconnect or connect for the first time.
I just find it really interesting that this storyline is going to be coming up at a time when Randall is going to be a little more isolated from the Pearson family, and what journey this is going to take him on. Could maybe whoever is coming into his life, if someone's coming into his life, could they be the person that maybe mends things with Kevin, that maybe it is a doorway to how important family is?
Yeah, that's I think it's going to do one of a few different things. I think it's either going to bring ultimately Randall closer to Kevin again. I mean, maybe it pushes them further away. I just doubt it. I feel like it would be something they would use to get the two closer, or if nothing else, it could just create some interesting dynamics, because I'm sure Kevin's still going to find out about developments going on in Randall's life, even though they're not talking. So maybe Kevin would hear through the grapevine that, oh, Randall is reconnected with his biological mother who's still out there, or, you know, a half-sibling that he didn't know about, and then maybe this makes Kevin feel a certain way, and then maybe things change on his end.
The only thing that I'm nervous about, and I mean, I'm not that nervous because it's This Is Us and they do such a good job, the writers are great, is I don't want to see just a repeat of what we just saw with William, where they reconnected and they were able to enjoy the last bits before William passed away, and it brought all this great meaning to his life. A lot of times that can happen with adoption, and then there's other times where you kind of dip into your biological whoever and you're opening a can of worms, and things aren't exactly peaches and cream as you're going through it. So I would like to see if it turns out that for some reason his mom is still alive, or if she had a sister or a brother and he has an aunt or an uncle who's out there, that maybe it's not just they come in and it's perfectly supportive and everything is awesome, that there's going to be something a little else going on, that might be the thing that opens the door to be like, oh, this wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. Maybe the family that I was adopted into I was there for a reason, and it's good, and I should patch things up with Kevin. That maybe
Praise what you have.
Yeah, that praise what you have. That what happened with Kevin was a mistake, and now we need to move on.
Well, the other thing is that, yeah, they can't do a repeat of William. They also can't do a repeat of Nikki, and This Is Us has done a lot already now of, here is this character who is attached to the past, who is gone for your lives for a significant period of time, and I think it's going to be a challenge for them. I think they're going to have to sort of figure out if they're bringing back a character and it's not something else that's kind of attached to all of this. How is this person going to be different from these other people? How are they going to impact the story? And are they going to be a long-term fixture? Because we haven't seen if this is a person. They haven't shown up in any of the flash forwards or anything like that, at least not yet.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a couple of ways that this can really go. I mean, yeah, we're still in for a long haul, waiting for when it could possibly come back. Everything is up in the air, but it is exciting that Sterling dropped that little bit of information, because we just don't have anything right now. All of the shows that we love are just kind of hanging in the balance right now. So it's really nice to get a little bit of something. I really appreciate that Sterling is willing to share some stuff with us.
Well, we'll see if anything else comes out. I feel optimistic we'll get something more. And if nothing else, we'll have other stuff for you guys on the channel for the next little while. Let's just hope for This Is Us to be back, as long as it's safe, sooner rather than later. But anyway, what do you guys think about this video? Do you have any Randall theories? Give us them in the comments. And if you do like this discussion, give us a like, subscribe, and you can support us further by checking the link in the description to the store. And we'll see you here next time.